primetime Poulton, keep it entertaining. You already knowin', outworking everybody and he don't ever quit. Talking about plenty comics like Graveyard Shift, Sea Dogs, Fighting Wolf, U.S. Assassin, doing just what he loves. This is his passion. Bring more value to your dollar. No, I'm not frontin'. That's how just a writer became a moral compass. This is primetime Poulton. This is primetime Poulton. Let's go. It's all about the boom. TMC, baby. It's all about the boom. Cowboy Phil, baby. Hit him with the body slam, elbow drop. TMC, Cowboy Phil, laid pot guys. What you see in the ring are two monsters. Energy of a king and of a rock star. Yeah, drop kick, probably make your heart stop. You ain't ready, super scary, and they staying on top. Hit a ding ding, better watch yourself. It's TMC and Cowboy Phil. Late pot guys, yeah, they the real deal. It's TMC and Cowboy Phil. 2 times a week, you can't compete. They body slam you down, now you taste the beat. The champions, they legendary, nobody like them. Coming for the belt, yeah, they coming for the title. Hey, it's all about the boom. TMC, baby. TMC, yeah. It's all about the boom. Cowboy Phil, baby. Let's go. Cowboy Phil, baby. Hey. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Happy Sunday. It's La Pod Gods. That can mean only one thing, Phil. It's all about that boom.
Boom,
TMC
baby.
here with me, the one, the only, the main event, Cowboy Phil McNulty. Phil, what's going on, man?
My Twitter feed has been nonstop since Wednesday. Like every time I pull up my phone, it's got 50 plus. That little bell's lit up blue. Today, when I just checked it before on air, it had 18 new notifications. So it must be the audience is all about the boom too here on the Pod Gods.
Absolutely. My Twitter's going crazy. Everyone's talking about the moral compass. The most talked about man, the most popular man in the CGWF, leader of the Primetime Six, the hottest faction in all of the CGWF. Man, everyone's gunning for us, Phil.
They hate us because they ain't us. They see the numbers we're pulling in. We are taking away some of the numbers. We're building up this slow faction. We're starting to get a fan base, right? I don't want to call us the NWO, but we're at least getting to D-Generation X style
I'll
of
tell you
faction.
what. The one thing we're really making waves on is that key women's demo. Ever since my little dance, female viewership going up.
And I mean, I don't know why it was blurred because you already got the product to make sure that it was all clean to be viewed down there anyway.
I know. Smooth my balls. Proud. No, I'm not just, a spokesman for them. I'm a user.
And speaking of using, what's that on your head, sir?
Oh, this is from City Locks. This is a new La Pod Gods cap. You have one too coming your way, Phil.
Fantastic. Can't wait to represent. My goal ultimately is to wear that when we go out to settings and then eventually getting a nice skull and rose cowboy hat with a little Pod Gods here on the front.
Nice. So in the chat, we got Nicholas Gear. What's up, Nicholas? We got Hicks Villain. We got D-Wag, Darren Wagner. Darren has a big match coming up Wednesday. He's in an exhibition match before the main event, TMC versus Cowboy Phil. D-Wag's going to be taking on legendary artist Andy Smith.
I mean, not to overshadow Darren's debut exhibition match, but what is Vince McSix, right, of the CGWF planning for us to wear on our match on Wednesday night?
You might as well say, what aren't we going to wear? He has tweeted, evil, no good, stinky, Vince McSix, 6 a.m. comics. He said we're both wrestling naked.
I mean, I'd rather wear it than polka dots, but still, we'd get it over.
Hey, I already told Six, I'm the most popular wrestler in CGWF. Make me more famous.
I feel like it's the Undertaker American Badass version, because he'll make you famous. Anytime I feel like we're going to be put in matches with somebody, we're going to make you famous.
We got Emerald Avenger in the chat. Hail the Pod Gods. What did you think of that Acclaim track? That track, Phil, did you hear it? Incredible. Had me in stitches. Two grown men going through a goth phase. Incredible.
I'm so glad they won too, because we know that they're going up against Bear Country. So it seemed like it was a match of a pair of job teams, but I was so glad with the outcome. It looks like the Acclaimed is going to get a little bit of a mini push. I mean, as far as it goes, is probably next week.
Yeah.
But it's nice that, they're starting to get recognized.
And they had Stang in their video from Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Stang is actually Bowen's boyfriend, if you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That was awesome. D-Wag says pointing us in the right direction. Oh, here we go. The moral compass pointing us in the right direction. Always. That's what I'm here for. I'm building this. It's not the CGWF over here, Phil. It's the CGWE, because we're an entertainment company.
The hashtag PT6 Primetime 6. I don't think there's been a faction making this much noise since Adam Cole came back to the Elite. Because, again, what do all of us have in common? We're all about the boom.
Yeah. We might as well address this right now. So Vince McSix working his evil schemes. If you noticed, in this King of That Thing tournament, all the members of the Primetime Six are facing off against each other. It was evil Vince McSix's plans to break up the Primetime Six, and it's actually worked. Joe Sontag has left the Primetime Six. He thinks the grass is greener. He's going to go be John Malin's young boy. Good luck with that. Best wishes in your future endeavors, Joe.
But what they say could be addition by subtraction, because wait a second, we might have a mouthpiece coming to the Primetime Six.
Everyone's asking me, who's the sixth man, Phil? Who's the sixth man? Well, if I have it my way, it's going to be my wise man, my advocate, Leandro.
Number one supporter of the show, Leandro.
The man who super chatted Ethan Van Sciver and told him to acknowledge me. Well, speaking of the Primetime Six, we got my assassin in the chat. We got Mike McMahon. What's up, Mike?
What up, Mike?
Mike, I'm going to have some work for you. I have guys I need you to take out. You're the muscle. Well, we got the Spanish God, Jersey's finest, Sean Aaron as well, looking incredibly impressive. We'll get into all the CGWF action. D-Wag's training. Andy Smith, watch out. Nicholas Gear, where do we get one of those hats? Well, they're not for sale. I created it on a website called City Locks. They promote a lot on Instagram. And Phil, I was bored one night scrolling. This ad popped up. I saw this awesome, kind of Day of the Dead Skull hat. I was like, let's get some La Pod Gods hats. So, Nicholas, I'll send you the link. You can create your own.
Soon enough we're gonna have to go to the La Pod Gods merch store, especially because we're bringing the entertainment to the CGW.
Some Primetime Six shirts.
Oh, I'm already starting the design. Well, now we got to make, because originally I had emblems around the PT6, but now since we lost one, we can't. They had to see. That's what happens with evil Vince McSix. He already cut down our pro or PWT store essentially.
He almost got Don Shin too. Don Shin was talking smack after La Pod Gods last Wednesday. He said the moral compass had a mini chalupa down below. No, that's not the case. He didn't mean it, big fella.
It's a grande.
So Don didn't realize he was part of the Primetime Six. He was confused. Phil, it's going to be your responsibility to keep an eye on Don.
You know what? We'll keep
Cowboys
him in
on the
line.
job.
You got it.
Yeah. So once Don realized he was on our side, he changed his tune. Now TMC has an extra large chimichanga. All is right in the world. Oh man. Hicks Villain says the Acclaim bringing Scissor Fingers back. D-Wag says he doesn't know if Andy Smith is going to show up. D-Wag, Crack Pack, formidable team. We know that firsthand, Phil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we took a beating our first matchup.
And look at us. We rose from the ashes, created the Primetime 6, most talked about faction in all of CGW.
You know, I'm not going to say we're more over than the Dark Order at this point, but I would say it's fair to say that we've taken our ball and we are running it all the way down to the end zone.
We got D-Wag saying, plus he's got a wicked rash right now, but I'm ready for a fight, rash and all. Yeah, when we mixed it up with Crack Pack, I had this rash that took weeks to go away.
I'm still feeling the itch on my back shoulder right here.
Yeah. D-Wag, Don is always up to no good. You got to keep an eye on him, Phil. Seriously.
Yeah, I will.
OC Steve in the chat. He says Primetime 6 not as great as Crack Pack.
Well, I think it means over the Crack Pack, right? Because we eat that thing, right? So isn't it we're greater than the Crack Pack?
Oh, you know what? I think he's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
OC Steve's got his symbols messed up. OC Steve has a match coming up Tuesday. We're going to call it, Phil. He's taking on Patrick Thomas Parnell, who was kind of on a drunken Twitter rant yesterday. He called me a candy ass.
I mean, listen, OC Steve has been with us probably since week 2 on. Just like we were a biased show last week when it came to JMS versus our boy Sean, we're obviously going to be on the side of OC Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, no, PTP, I tried to compliment him, and he got all pissed off. I don't know. I think he was drinking his courage last night, and he was running off the mouth at OC Steve. I called PTP's first match. He knocked out Vinny T with a knockout punch. PTP says that wasn't even him. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. He says the go to sleep was his finisher. The Rainmaker's his finisher. He was trained by New Jack. He was making up all sorts of stories. Could you imagine New Jack teaching someone to do the Rainmaker or the go to sleep?
I don't even think New Jack knows what those terms are. But now if he's teaching them how to blade, that's what we know.
Yeah.
Now we know that's a skill New Jack is talented in.
No, PTP, I've called his matches. He's a punch kick kind of guy. Nothing wrong with that. He doesn't know a wristwatch from a wrist lock. Mike McMahon saying he will dispense of our enemies with stealth and an occasional Twinkie. That's good to hear, Mike. OC Steve says the Dork Order, aka Primetime 6.
It's his. I think it's autocorrect. I think it's probably meant the Dark Order.
Absolutely. Darren Wagner, candy ass. This is getting deep. It's getting heated, man. You know what it is? Everyone sees like their shortcut to the top, attacking me.
Hey, when you're the hottest draw in the business, that's where you try to make your name. Try to make your name at the guy at the top.
Yep. OC Steve says PTP was a couple tacos short of Fiesta last night. He even has his wife afraid. Yeah, it was honestly, it was just sad. All right, enough CGWF talk for the minute. We're gonna table it, and we're gonna talk about another the hottest comic going around. Could only be Graveyard Shift. Phil, we passed 87,000 today. We're less than 3,000 away from our first stretch goal, a trading card for all backers.
You can never beat a trading card.
What's that?
I said you can never beat a trading card.
No, the Graveyard Shift campaigns have the best trading cards. People love them. People always emailing me, asking them if I can sell my extras. And yes, I will. I will sell my extras to you. But let's just go through this. The featured tier, the Blood Bag, that gets you the reprint of Volume 3 with the new John Malin cover, Volume 4 featuring the beautiful artwork of Jose Garcia, and the supplemental book, which right now stands at 48 pages, and that's a full story by Phil Diaz and Tommy Patterson. But there's a big stretch goal at 325,000. I know it's far away, but if we hit that 48-page book gets bumped up to 108 pages. So
I can
definitely,
see it. I can see it.
Yeah, and that's a story, written by John Malin, and it's going to knock people's socks off. So here's just some of Jose's awesome artwork. These are a bunch of the new characters we created. There's Nightwalker front and center. Behind him, Division X, one of our teams in our universe. Another new character we created, Death Rider. Just so much fun. Here's the cover to the supplemental book that Phil Diaz's story's in, as well as here's a better shot at John Malin's variant cover to the reprint of Volume 3. So Graveyard Shift, 87,000. We're closing in on that $90,000 stretch goal. Thank you so much for the support. Next up, Phil, I've remembered finally. We're going to play this. We got a little special word for the people.
Hi there. This is Trent's mom, Sue, from AEW Wrestling, and I would like to tell you that you should watch Le Pod Gods with TMC and Cowboy Phil. You should join the boys every Sunday and Wednesday for the best wrestling talk around.
There you have it. Right straight from Sue's mouth.
We have the biggest stars on the podcast. We got Johnny Swinger. We got Trent's mom, all telling you to watch the Podgods.
Absolutely. Let's see. Mike McMahon says, to be the man, you got to beat the man, the moral compass. I'm like Roddy Piper. He never needed the belt to be a top guy. Bancroft's the champ. But really, everyone's coming gunning for the moral compass. What's that say?
You know what? We're gonna get to it in a bit, because I'm gonna say, you know what? We're getting to almost '90s, mid '90s era of WWF. We're getting. You may be the Bret Hart. I think they're slowly trying to push you out, my friend.
Yep, absolutely. Let's just talk about it now. Let's cover CGWF right now. I made up a little list, Phil, the top 5 movers and shakers in the CGWF. I'd like you to comment on them as well. Number 5 didn't even have a match last week, but he was in the Le Pod Gods chat, causing a stink. Could only be one man, the coach, John Malin, complaining about the referees, complaining about his hometown boy, Joe Sontag, losing. Look, the refs were bad. I admit that. But Sean should have won that match way earlier. There was like a 4 count that the ref was out of place for. It's just sour grapes on John Malin's part. But hey, it gets him in the spotlight. Sometimes you have to, pop off at the mouth to get places. And that's what John's doing.
And I mean, already the cause of losing JMS in the primetime 6. So without
they're stupid initials anyway. We don't need him. Look, he thought the grass was greener with Malin. Let's see how that works out for him. As a matter of fact, we're going to see how it works out in 2 weeks. I'm announcing it now. Exhibition match. Malin with his young boy, Joe Sontag, taking on Niall and Billy Tucci from the Pop XP YouTube show. Billy Tucci, maybe one of the biggest badasses in the CGWF.
I was going to say, I mean, if you're looking to get on a roll, it ain't going to start against Billy Tucci.
Yeah. So, you know what? And John Malin's worked with me for so long. He expects greatness from the people he works with. If Joe doesn't live up to it, how quick is this experiment over with? Yeah. Good luck, Joe.
We're going Commander Aziz style.
Number 4. yours truly, the moral compass. Didn't wrestle. Talk of the town. Talk of the CGWF universe. I showed a little skin. I busted a few moves. Crowd went wild.
I mean, has there a bigger GIF making its way around than you
The
coming
big
out
clap.
strutting your...
People love it. It's a new dance craze. There's going to be a line dance about it.
It gave me Brodus Clay type vibe. Somebody call my mama.
All right, number 3, Wyatt Holiday. I called his match over on Breaking Rad. He advanced in the King of That Thing qualifiers. Big win for him. I know you were under the weather. You didn't see it. But, you know, there's a reoccurring theme here in the CGWF. It's gang warfare. You bring backup. Wyatt had Mandy Summers, the women's champion, with him, and Peter Gilmore by his side. If you want to get places in the CGWF, you got to bring someone with you, except if you're number 2, the Spanish God, Jersey's finest, Sean Aaron. He didn't need anything but these 2 fists. The man was incredible.
So many near falls. The man fought a distraction. He, you know, because you need to pay for that arena. You know,
that LED light board with the graveyard shift artwork wasn't cheap, though.
You know, you had to get some of that former rock star money from JMS.
Yep.
You know, help a distraction, but also have faith in our best friend to handle his business, and he did so. And man, was that match easily the match of the tournament so far.
I know. Match of the year contender. When you see Sean Aaron do this, it's over. You're getting hit with the type 1 slam. The guy's a beast. I'm so proud of him. OC Steve's proud of him. He says this type 2 backs type 1. Absolutely. We all back type 1. And then number 1, it pains me to say this, number 1 mover and shaker in the CGWF, Vince McSix, 6 a.m. Comics, had an exhibition match against the Statistical Zero, had the whole goon squad out with him, causing distractions, using chairs. It was a beating. It was almost too brutal to watch, Phil.
I think this is not going to be a one-match occurrence either.
Oh, no. Wherever Vince McSix goes, the goon squad follows.
Yes.
Yep. And they have the audacity to call themselves the clean team.
I mean, I got to find that awfully ironic.
Yeah. Nico Trona says, boo 6 a.m. Boo. Absolutely. He's just AM Comics around here. Primetime 6 owns the 6.
AM Comics.
He can be 4 a.m., 12 a.m. Doesn't matter. He can't be 6 a.m. because we own the 6. Nico Trona says, hail chat. So that does it for CGWF. This Tuesday, we're going to be on Breaking Rad. We're entering enemy territory, Phil. Could get weird. You
know, we just can't talk the talk. We got to walk the walk as well. And when the Lapag gods are summoned, we're going to answer that call because we don't say no to any challenge.
Yeah, I'm going to call OC Steve, kicking out of all of PTP's finishers that he says he can do. I'm going to enjoy it. The one person you don't go after is the play-by-play guy who could just bury you. I'm too much of a professional to do that, though, Phil. It never crossed my mind until I said it right now.
But I am not.
That's why you're my color man. And then we're doing another round in the King of That Thing tournament. I believe we're doing Gabe Altiev versus Dale Keone. 2 powerhouses. Gabe bragging that he's 6'4", 290 pounds. But is he Dale Keone? We're going to find out.
You know what? I don't think of the people. Think of the contenders we have in this, right?
Yeah.
Dale Keone, the man is a legend.
Yeah.
I mean, the man has the muscles of the Hulk, which he so perfectly draws.
You know what? If I went up against Dale Keone, I would just let him finger poke me. You know, it would be my honor, Dale. I'll take the pinfall.
I will gladly do the job.
OC Steve says PTB better keep it clean or he will answer the crack pack in the CG4 Horsemen. D-Wag says the clean team, they run a maid service. Yeah, you know what? That this wrestling thing's not really working out for them, so they got the side job. They got the cleaning service. OC Steve says Keone is the king and Gabe is diet right. Rusev. Ouch. Finger poke of doom. Yep. All right. Are you ready to talk maybe the next to CGWF, the best wrestling show I've seen in a long time, Phil?
We're not talking about WWE. We're not talking about even AEW. We're talking about Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, this week's Impact Wrestling was so good. It's just fantastic. It started off with William Morrissey, or W. Morrissey, I'm sorry. He's furious that he lost to Moose at the pay-per-view. And he wants a shot, and he's going to be on the hunt for Moose. Then we get the first match, Chris Bay versus Laredo Kid. This is an X Division match. Laredo Kid. Oh, you know what? We got a beatdown before this match, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We had the Ring of Honor
commentary.
Invasion. Yeah. We had Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, PCO, and Vincent. They came out and they took out D'Lo Brown. They left Tom New Name by himself.
See, now, first off, D'Lo Brown still going through tables like a champ, selling it perfect. This was anytime I can bring the Attitude Era into wrestling, I will. This filled my heart with joy. First of all, with the opening segment, I love how the fact that we're getting a heel versus heel match. Again, it's going to have us, the audience, choose who we want to root for.
The fans have already decided, Phil.
Yes.
W. Morrissey is babyface.
It's babyface in this. Yeah, I totally agree. Moose is just so good at what he does. It's hard to even root against Moose. But then, man, I was about to say, Hicks, that table.
The table didn't break. PCO. It's got to be like 350 pounds, Phil.
Yeah. I mean, it took him a couple tries to get there, but we got there.
Yeah. Nicholas Gear says, yeah, it took him 2 tries. I love that the chat's watching Impact Wrestling now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much better when you can actually follow along with a good wrestling program. We said this a couple weeks ago with our Hard to Kill recap, that when it comes to specifically Impact Wrestling, they only have those 3 or 4 times a year where all eyes are on them. And they've kept this ball rolling. So I really appreciate the good work that Impact's doing so far.
Absolutely. OC Steve says PCO still kicking ass and taking names. Will we see the French Canadian Frankenstein in CG? You know, I know an artist who said he would love to draw PCO's book. Mark Yoon in the chat say we're looking fresh. Thank you, Mark. Next up, first match, Trey Miguel or Chris Bay versus Laredo Kid. Trey Miguel comes out to do color commentary with Tom Hannafan. I like that Matt Taven called him Tom New Name.
Yeah. You know what I even like most in this, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, Trey Miguel was surprisingly entertaining on commentary. He was actually really good.
And they went in a direction I didn't think they were going to go. Laredo Kid got the victory.
Another good, what have we talked about Laredo Kid and Chris Bay? We've talked about their trajectories always going the opposite way, especially Chris Bay. We weren't really fans of him coming out, and it seemed like they were giving him this push, and we say, why Chris Bay? And then he gets that Bullet Club offer, and again, we ask ourselves, why Chris Bay? And I'm glad Impact was probably thinking to themselves in this match, who would go over, and they probably thought, why Chris Bay? And hence Laredo Kid getting the victory.
Well, I honestly thought Bay was going to go over because we're getting a Bullet Club invasion coming soon. Jay White and the Gorillas of Destiny are coming to Impact, Phil.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they kick Bay out. I won't be surprised if they if they give this man a beat down in the middle of the ring.
One can only hope. Laredo Kid gets the victory. Then he points to Trey Miguel's X Division title. He wants a shot. So let's see if it happens. Then we get a backstage segment. The influence talking about the who are they again? The Iconics, but they're not the Iconics.
They're the inspiration.
Yeah, the inspiration. There you go.
The fact that we haven't seen them is since what, Hard to Kill.
They weren't. They missed Hard to Kill.
That's right. They weren't even in that. So
yeah,
they made a hot debut, and since then it's just been where they've been.
Yeah, and it's sad because it's honestly the best thing the influence has done.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at, when we take a look at AEW, we were asking ourselves, where the hell's Jay Lethal? At least we got a Jay Lethal sighting this week.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's up with the inspiration?
Yeah, who knows? Then we get more backstage segments. Eddie Edwards, Heath Rhino, Rich Swann, Willie Mack. They're upset about the ROH invasion. Well, the ROH Renegades. We've made it clear that these guys are not officially with ROH.
It's even come out on the dirt sheets that PCO has officially signed with Impact Wrestling. So we're already starting to see that these guys, as part of this sort of invasion, are already signing the contracts to be with Impact.
Yeah, so they decide they're going to split up and they're going to hunt down these ROH guys, get them out of the arena. We're going to catch up with them later, see how it goes. But ROH, they announced they have a pay-per-view April 1st. How awesome would it be, Phil, if it was Ring of Honor versus Impact Wrestling?
I had to think this is actually being funded by Anthem. And I had to think that this pay-per-view is probably going to be heavily Impact influenced. And I think it's just a way to keep a working relationship with ROH. Well, I mean, like we talked about, we're going to talk about this later when we cover AEW, but we're talking about a company that needs to get casuals involved versus a company that has to get hardcore fans involved. In order for Impact to start gaining more viewership and more momentum, they got to get a hold of those hardcore wrestling fans that will tune in every week to see the wrestlers that have been on the independent scene, ROH, or other companies. And so this is good for them to actually start building. So they're doing it a great way as opposed to AEW, who's sort of trying to teeter back away from the casuals, which is not a good move. But this is actually, I think, is going to be a pay-per-view that's probably going to be funded mostly by Anthem, and a good way to improve their standing within those hardcore wrestling fans.
OC Steve wants to see Matt Taven versus Ace Austin. Matt Taven's kind of like a grown-up version of Ace Austin.
Taven is what Ace Austin wants to be one day.
You know what? It's funny. I hated when Matt Taven was the Ring of Honor world champ. I was like, how could they put the belt on him instead of Marty Scurll, who was so over with the fans? But here, I like him.
Yeah.
Hicks Villain says Ring of Honor comes back in April, but will all their guys be signed to Impact and AEW by then? Probably.
Yeah, I think probably there's guys who do sign. Well, for the exception of Danhausen, who's made it abundantly clear that he will never wrestle for ROH again. I think some of those guys do have a good working relationship with them. And I think they probably sort of have some, want to give sort of some good faith back to that company. So I think they'll probably will be signed there, but they probably will make an appearance on that show.
Oh, we got Mr. Von Stugel in the chat. What's up, Mr. Von Stugel? Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but Danhausen officially filled out his application for A&W.
Yes.
He's very excited.
His last reason for leaving his last company was just simply fired.
All right, next up at Impact Wrestling, Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans interrupted an interview segment with Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. I really like this. Chelsea Green's the best, man.
Yeah, we're seeing the talent, that, as Randy Savage would say, the cream rise to the top, because we're actually seeing Chelsea Green back to be who she was before she signed that developmental deal with WWE, before they basically made Chelsea Green's gimmick of being a hot mess her actual self, making her seem like a hot mess. We're actually glad to see her get back to being comfortable, and I think her working with her fiance Matt Cardona is just so good for both of them, especially when you see what's going on AEW the next night.
Yeah, did you see Chelsea Green? She got gored by Rhino at GCW Saturday or Friday, I believe, and then Saturday she gave Ricky Morton a low blow at the next GCW event.
She's making waves. I'm proud of her.
And co-main event at the GCW Hammerstein Ballroom show. One of the main events is Matt Cardona versus Joey Janella. I don't know if you saw the pictures that Joey Janela sent Matt Cardona. Very reminiscent of Ric Flair and Macho Man. I love it.
We're getting into a time in professional wrestling where in order to get casual fans back in, you have to homage or bring up the times when wrestling was at its hottest. And I think you're starting to see Impact really do that a lot, really play into the history of professional wrestling, which, what do we say all the time? We enjoy good continuity in our professional wrestling, and Impact has been doing it better than anyone over the last month.
So one thing I really liked in that interview segment, you could sense the frustration with Matt and Chelsea. I really want a heel turn from them. Them as heels in Impact, I think that's what they need to take them to that world championship status.
Yeah, I think it would be good if we're going to go with the Josh Alexander route, and he actually does take the strap off of Moose, and then Cardona will be the guy who takes the strap off of Alexander. That's how I would book it, and I think that's the way that's the direction we're slowly going into.
Yeah, I love it. Book it, Phil. Next up, we get Jake Something versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Both of them won their matches at Hard to Kill. I know you didn't watch Speedball's match at Hard to Kill, but man, this guy is impressive, Phil. I really like him.
He's really good. I just feel bad that it comes at the expense of Jake Something. I think he really is lost in Impact.
Every time they heat him up, they cool him down.
I think he's just the unfortunate. He's in the unfortunate position where they like him enough to make him win meaningful matches, but they're not quite sure how his promo. And we bring this up all the time. We don't know what to think of his promo. So if we don't know what to think of his promo, obviously Impact doesn't either. And it seems less like he loses to guys who may be on the same talent level and ring wise, but have a better presence on the mic. And I honestly think that's why Mike Bailey went over, because he's proved to be decent on the mic, where Jake is still learning the ropes. And I think that's where we're going at this point with Jake Something. So he needs to step up his promo game, and I don't think that's going to happen unless he probably goes somewhere, probably unless he signs a developmental deal with the WWE.
Would you give him a mouthpiece?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. He needs a Malcolm Bivens style guy who can make his matches seem important. Who that is, I don't think Impact currently has that on the roster.
Maybe even pair him up with a knockout who sort of like pulls the strings and gets him to do her bidding.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is where Impact has really hired a lot of great workers, right? We talked about Lady Frost. We always sing the praises of Jordan Grace. We see Deonna Purrazzo, right? It's from a former knockout, from back in the day, to sort of bring those, hardcore fans back. I don't know who that would be, but Jake Something deserves more than what he's getting right now.
I thought him and Susie were a great match. Maybe bring some sort of Susie Susan back. I know they released Kimberly and Brandy Lauren, so there's no more bridesmaids.
Yeah, I mean, that would work good if she came back as Susan and Jake Something comes back in a suit. Maybe
Jacob Something.
Yes, Jacob Something, right? So, at least give him. He needs a gimmick change. He needs a mouthpiece. Maybe Su Young Susan is the right one for him.
Yeah. So Mike Bailey gets the victory. I'm looking forward to his eventual face-off with Trey Miguel.
No, it's going to be awesome.
Next up, Josh Alexander comes out. He's pissed off. He wants his title shot against Moose. He's interrupted by, can you believe it, Charlie freaking Haas.
This is where Impact is going to start building their audience. If you don't know who Charlie Haas is, go ahead, YouTube, look at his work. The man,
one half of the world's greatest tag team.
The man is absolutely awesome, and I think this is a great spot for Impact. And when I saw Charlie Haas, I was just like, all right, Impact, you win the week this week.
The sad thing is, did you read the spoilers?
I've not read the spoilers.
Oh, so I'm going to spoil it for you, Phil. He suffers a concussion in his match with Josh Alexander.
No.
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah. He says he's okay, and he says he's committed to wrestling full time this year.
Okay, cool.
I hope this doesn't scare Impact away from using him, because I really popped when he came out.
Yeah, that really is a shame, because he really has put in a lot of work to get back to where he is, and that's unfortunate. That's really some tough luck.
Yeah, he slipped and took Josh Alexander knee to his head, got his bell rung pretty good, but he says he's ready. He's gonna he wants to wrestle full time, so that's good news. Next up, we get a knockouts match. We get Masha Slamovich versus Vert Vixen. What do you think of Masha Slamovich? I feel like she's a character from Glow.
I don't know what to think. I think, I haven't read any of the spoilers from the taping, so I don't know if Lady Frost comes back on here. But this would have been a better spot for her after she was the star of the match in Hard to Kill.
Yeah, I don't know. I was under the impression Lady Frost signed with Impact. So
yeah, me too.
Hopefully we'll see more of her. All right, main event time. At least I think it's main event time. Maybe not. Moose defends the world title against his handpicked challenger, Zicky Dice. We get Brian Myers on commentary. Brian Myers is great when he gets to speak.
What have we talked about Brian Myers? Every time he has an opportunity, he takes it. And I don't know why Impact is doing the same thing that the WWE has done to Brian Myers. Brian Myers got a stripper gimmick over on SmackDown with Tyler Rex.
Yeah.
You are talking about a guy who helped Edge rise to that next level when he's part of the Major Brothers with Matt Cardona. So you're talking about a guy who is so good at what he does. He has a wrestling school. He's such a good technician. He's so, he will end up as a commentator. I think eventually when his career winds down, and he'll be damn good at it. But in the meantime, he should have been X Division champion a year ago. He should have, maybe him and Cardona should have been tag champions instead of that weird feud they had that didn't do anything for either of them. They sort of try to, put the cart before the horse in a way.
Yeah.
And this is where, and this is another reason why watching this match and just hearing him, you're just like, he puts everybody over. It's time for him to get his justice because he's so good at what he does.
Yeah. Nope. I've been singing his praises for a long, long time. All right. Fifth match. Raj Singh comes out. He wants some competition. Jonah comes out, squashes him like that. Speaking of Raj Singh, did you see his former partner, Rohit Raju, made his AEW debut on AEW Dark Tapings in Orlando?
I don't know what they're going to do with him. Hopefully,
I bet it's one and done, or at least he whatever round of tapings they do down there.
Right. I think it'll just be a body for them. He didn't get the whole all elite thing. Thank goodness. So I think he's just probably in a transition point in his career.
Yeah. It's not that I hated Rohit Raju. I hated the way he was booked.
He was booked way above his means, and that's unfortunate.
I did like the Beat Rohit challenge. That was entertaining, but we just got too much of Rohit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, match number 6, Deonna Purrazzo versus Roxy for the Women's Ring of Honor Championship and the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. And Deonna Purrazzo is your new Ring of Honor World Champion, Phil.
This makes me even more befuddled and confused to her not beating Mickie James.
Yeah.
At Hard to Kill.
I bet she was supposed to win, but once that Royal Rumble deal happened, they wanted the Impact belt on her. So you would get to make sure Impact would be mentioned.
And if she is allowed to come out with the belt, then you're having her belt on that television. So I understand it. I get it. But, man, I just feel so bad for Deonna Purrazzo because she earned it. And now where do you go? She'll probably never get that pinfall over Mickie James. She'll probably have to beat a transitional champion to get it.
Yeah, so after she gets the victory, wins the Ring of Honor women's belt, the ROH Invaders come out. They circle her. Matthew Raywalt comes to her aid. He gets beaten down big time. And that's how we go off the air, Phil.
I mean, really good episode.
Yeah,
really,
it was fantastic. I was so excited after I watched it. I messaged you.
And when I watched it right after, it was such an easy watch. Like, I mean, wrestling is best when it ends and you're like, wait a second, did this just end? Because you were expecting more from it. It leaves you wanting more. And Impact has done that with every show since 2022 started. So,
yeah, no, I turned this on and I started packaging up U.S. Assassin books. And when it was over, I couldn't believe how many I had done. We're under 200 left to fulfill, Phil.
Nice.
Yeah. We got American Comics Company in the chat. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us. Love seeing all these new faces that are quickly becoming familiar faces, Phil.
Love it. And remember, for those who are just joining us, we're both going to appear on Breaking Rad on Tuesday, but we're going to have our match on Wednesday, our flagship show on Wednesdays, now probably at 8 o'clock. Is going to be our new permanent time slot where we're going to have the Moral Compass against the Cowboy. What will be in store? We don't know after last week's hot
We're going to call it in the ring, Phil.
That's right. Let's do it. I'm only going to call my moves.
Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton, hit the notification so you know when we go live next. So that does it for Impact Wrestling. Fantastic show. I'm so psyched to see how the rest of this batch of tapings went. Can't wait to see I know how it ends for Charlie Haas, unfortunately, but I'm looking forward to the future for him.
No wonder you were giving me these looks when I started to fantasy book it, and you were giving me these looks. I didn't know you read all the spoilers.
Yeah. Next week we have coming up on Impact, Jonathan Gresham defends the Ring of Honor World Title against our guy Steve Macklin. Now, once they pin Steve Macklin, they're going to have no problem pinning him again.
No,
Phil.
this is the once he loses his specialness, that's when he becomes free reign. And I mean, that's nothing to take away from Jonathan Gresham.
That's going to be a hell of a match, though.
The match is going to be highly enjoyable. It just comes at the expense of someone who is just so talented as well.
Yeah. And we got Ian Riccaboni back this week calling the Roxy match. He's going to be back calling the Jonathan Gresham match. I love it.
Impact has done such a great job with bringing in other companies and getting their name out there. They really do deserve the praise they're getting. Hey,
maybe Ian Riccaboni becomes Tom New Name's co-host on the show.
Let's hope. I think my hope is that this does eventually turn, just like Paul Heyman started to do his matches and then slowly became, when the king got tossed, slowly became the everyday commentator. I hope they rock it with Riccaboni and Tom New Name.
All right, let's talk some AEW.
So AEW Dynamite opens up with a rare promo. We get Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and
Phil,
Bobby Fish.
We got to start over. Amanda just got here.
All right, so we're going to lead off with Impact Wrestling.
No, we got to start off with CGWF. Amanda, just rewind from the beginning. You'll eventually catch up.
But a rare promo of the former Undisputed era. They are saying, we have them saying that they are ready for the tag team belts, which brings out the Young Bucks, who say, wait a second, there are belts to get back, which ultimately brings out the Best Friends, with who they're kind of been thrown into this feud over the last couple months. It seems like Adam Cole every Friday night, Rampage is beating somebody from the Best Friends. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. This Friday was no exception, as he won clean over Trent. But where do you see this all? How do you see this all unfolding?
I think this was just a way to get Britt Baker and Adam Cole together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what we're going to get is Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly against the Young Bucks and Flip Gordon until Kenny Omega is back.
I agree. I think this is going to be really good stuff. It's going to be really entertaining. I mean, the Best Friends are kind of thrown in there just because they've almost gotten to be too cool and Rikishi vibes, right? We're going to be entertained every time they're out there, whether they win or lose, doesn't matter. They'll probably get a tag team championship reign, but it won't be for too long, and it won't be that memorable, but we'll just know that they got it and we enjoyed their work. Because, I mean, every Rampage, we're supposed to think that Statlander can beat Baker after Baker's can constantly beaten Statlander, and then on Friday, Statlander gets pinned by the Bunny who hasn't won matches ever on Dynamite, pins Statlander and Adam Cole. I mean,
they're paying her back for all that blood she lost.
Yes, they are. So it really is just going to end up between the split between, Adam Cole and the Bucks being that storyline.
Yeah. Hicks Villain says Gresham is defending the Ring of Honor belt in an hour on Terminus. That's Gresham's own promotion. Nicholas Gear wants to know, when is Amanda B making her CG wrestling debut? Hicks Villain says this needs to end with a Cole on a pole match. Hicks Villain says respect the Bunny. And Amanda B says she'll be wearing an apron when she debuts. She makes mean sandwiches, Phil.
Hicks, I wish I could respect the Bunny. I really do. But when AEW is not giving us any chance to respect her, teaming up with QT Marshall and a failed run with Brandy Rhodes.
How great did Butcher, Blade, and Bunny look when they first debuted?
And now look at them now. But remember that when they were actually cutting up meat.
Fantastic.
Right. And the Bucks came in, kicked down their butcher shop door. Like, that was so much fun. Mm-hmm. And now the whole Hardy family office, I'm glad that is slowly disintegrating and going away. I feel like Matt Hardy is just sort of sitting in limbo until Jeff comes in March.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people right now that they're speculating, are they going to be released when their contracts are up? Brian Cage, Marco Stunt, Joey Janella, who's in great shape now. It's funny. I was looking at Twitter and I saw Brian Cage was trending. I was like, why is he trending? Yeah. He hasn't done nothing. And then someone tweeted and said, it's that one time a month where Melissa Santos gets all her accounts out to get her husband trending.
I feel so bad for Brian Cage. This Wolverine has just he's a really good face, and they refuse to pull the trigger on that. But
Hicks Villain says, new year, new Bunny, records are reset.
I mean, she's 1-0 right now, so I guess we'll add some respect to her name. But someone who we've always respected here on the Pod Gods. Wardlow is in a match against CM Punk, and this felt 1995-ish. Diesel just beating the snot out of Bret Hart till Bret Hart was able to quick grab the win. This is what this is ultimately feeling like.
Yeah. I don't care about the MJF CM Punk feud now. I already know Wardlow can beat him. I want Wardlow versus MJF.
Right.
So that's the topic of the show. Has Wardlow surpassed MJF, Phil?
Oh, by far and away. I think the fans have made their choice. And, you know, everyone could say, oh, it's because MJF is the best heel in the business right now. And, of course, we want to see this guy who he's been following around. But even when the fans have not liked MJF and Wardlow and MJF have been like this, fans have started to chant for Wardlow. We saw the Inner Circle sort of had that feud with the Pinnacle, and fans were cheering on Wardlow over Hager. They've clearly have found this likability towards Wardlow. The man has got the size. The man has got the look. The man has got the presence. The man can talk on the microphone. Not as good as others, but you don't need to when you're that good at everything else. He's really has surpassed MJF, and we're going to ultimately, where Wardlow goes, I don't know, but he does have future champion.
I'm going to predict his future. I'm calling it right now, Phil. Night 2, WrestleMania 2026, Braun Breaker versus Wardlow. He'll have a different name, but it's going to be Braun Breaker versus Wardlow.
I mean, the dirt sheets are saying that the WWE is very, very interested in Wardlow.
God, Vince would love this guy.
He is salivating at this guy. He saw the promo when the premiere episode when Wardlow had those 2 honeys on his shoulder and he was taking off feeling almost Dudley-ish from Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Like the gentleman assassin, the gentleman boxer. Like that's what it really felt like. And Vince McMahon would be nuts to not at least make an attempt to sign him.
Eddie Winkler thinks Wardlow, MJF, CM Punk would be a good 3-way feud.
I honestly think that's where it's going to go. I think Revolution, it is going to be a 3-way match, and I do think Wardlow will be there to eat the pin to keep MJF and Punk protected, unfortunately.
Who pins him, though?
MJF. And I think that's what causes Punk's first loss in AEW, and they can always say, well, he has a loss, but he didn't. Man who's never been pinned or submitted. They can also say about CM Punk, and I think that then that sort of MJF Wardlow feud spins out of that.
Sounds good. What's next?
So next up, we have Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Hobbes, and no longer is that man on a milk carton. Jay Lethal comes in and helps Dante Martin defeat Hobbes, setting up this Jay Lethal versus Ricky Starks match. That match is going to be fire.
It's crazy how quickly you forget about Jay Lethal when you don't see him for how long?
For about
since he wrestled Sammy Guevara for the TNT title?
Right. And I mean, I understand that. Here's the thing that we're talking about when it comes to Dynamite is that they've relied so heavily on which guy are we going to sign next, which person is going to be your next debut. Once you hit Punk, followed by Cole, followed by Danielson, you can't go any higher. There's no one else out there that is going to bring in that number to them. So now they got to start taking what they have and start building around it and start trying to get casual fans to watch. I mean, we're going to see Brody King, super talented guy, but if you don't follow wrestling like we do and you're just turning in to actually enjoy the product, you're like, who is this guy? What does this do for me? And the answer is, I don't know who this guy is, and this does nothing for me.
Yep. Hicks Villain says Dante keeps turning on his partners. Lethal is a fool. Yeah, I thought once he turned on Team Taz, he was going to go back to Leo Rush, but no, maybe Leo Rush got himself in the doghouse with his apologize tweet to Tony Khan.
I think the fact that what have we talked about Swole? We've talked about Swole in the past.
Yeah.
She doesn't have it. She
Yeah.
just doesn't have it. She's not good in the ring. She's not good on the mic. The Britt Baker carried her so far that when Britt Baker lost her own match, Swole couldn't even keep that momentum going. Right? It's unfortunate. It is what it is. Swole, it just didn't work out for her. Hopefully she finds success somewhere else in a different company and really works on her craft. But I mean, and then you can't defend Swole in that position. I'm sorry, especially when you retired and then decided to come back, and the man who you retired on said, "We'll be glad to have you back." You chose the wrong car to sit in, my friend.
Hicks Villain says Lethal was tagging with Sunny Kiss on Dark. No wonder I did see it.
So next up, we get the annual Will Lance Archer lose another title opportunity segment when Hangman Page comes out to address his future. Dan Lambert comes out, says he's got a monster on his side. And who is it? It is the Murder Hawk monster himself. Lance Archer lays out Hangman, puts the belt over the shoulder. Something we've seen many a times before.
He's not winning the belt.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. He couldn't beat Cody. He couldn't beat Moxley. He's not beating Hangman.
No.
He's almost getting Big Show, Kane style vibes. Is that we know that you're good and you have the potential to be champion, but when you're in a championship match, you're not going to win.
Yeah, he's getting the Big Show vibe because he's turning face heel every time he makes an appearance.
And I mean, do you think this whole Dan Lambert thing was supposed to lead into someone like Braun Strowman coming in and things fell through and they sort of just threw in Jericho and Hager and now they're throwing in Lance Archer?
I honestly, I don't understand what wrestling company's fascination with Dan Lambert is. We had to suffer through almost like a year, it seemed like, of Impact, where we had Dan Lambert, we had King Mo, we had Bobby Lashley. It was terrible. I wanted Dan Lambert off my TV, and now he's back on my TV, Phil. And
you still want him gone off your TV.
Yeah,
he's not doing anything for the show. He's not. I mean, because the next segment that follows that is Sheeta versus Deeb. And this did so much more for Serena Deeb. And you don't need to have Dan Lambert. You know, why isn't Jake the Snake there? You know, someone who, like, why doesn't Archer turn on Jake the Snake? And that even heats him up even more, you know. Hangman helps Jake up there, you know, just something to, you know, to push this story forward. But Dan Lambert is the cheap and easy way out.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even know what Jake Roberts is doing in AEW. I mean, collecting a paycheck at this point because he hasn't done nothing.
Right. I think it's just, I don't know if it's a combination of AEW being lazy or AEW just not knowing how to plan long-term storylines when Kenny Omega is not there to help plan it. I think Kenny Omega meant so much more to AEW than anyone realizes.
D-Wag says he's taking off. Love all y'all. Congrats on Graveyard Shift. Thank you, D-Wag. And we'll see you in the ring this Wednesday.
So next up, as we alluded to, Serena Deeb defeats Sheeta via referee stoppage. We're getting a pure assassin Serena Deeb, and I
love it. I love Serena Deeb. Sheeta, man, she's just been spinning her wheels this last 6-7 months.
Well, I think it's something we've said. You know, they were in a time where they didn't know what to do with the women's championship. For some reason, they didn't want to give it to Britt Baker. I think because they just knew her as a face wasn't working out. And now that she's the champion, they can sort of just say, well, thank you, Sheeta, for your service. Thank you for holding it for that while, but Now you're just going to be back to someone who elevates talent, who can speak on the mic.
And is she taking some time off? Because she made it on Twitter. She sounded like she was going back to Japan for a while.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like I think we're getting at this point with AEW where all those stars or higher end characters from the first year are slowly being phased out because of the newly added talent that they've got since then.
Yeah.
We're seeing Brian Cage fall off. We're seeing Butcher and the Blade fall off. We're, to an extent, we're starting to see, even Best Friends when Trent was out fall off. So you're actually starting to see, Fish and O'Reilly. You can't not have them on there. Adam Cole, you can't not have him on your television screen.
Hicks Villain says Sheeta was taking time off anyway, but Dee roughed up her knee badly. You know what? I want to say this one thing about Sheeta. She saved us from a terrible Riho run.
And Nyla Rose. And a terrible Nyla Rose run as well.
Yep.
So
you know what the downfall for Sheeta was? That Abaddon feud. Where they portrayed her as a coward.
Yep, that was it.
Oh, Sheeta got an acting gig back in Japan. Good for her.
Good for her. So, next up, we have Penta versus Matt Hardy, in which Penta defeats Hardy, but really it's what happens after the match that the story is brought to us. And
I was confused by this. Why were they calling out Aleister Black?
I don't know. I think it's I think it's sort of just like saying, this is a total, I think, panic move because of Ray's arm just getting mangled.
Was he just stepping up for Julia Hart?
I don't know. Somehow the Varsity Blondes are involved in this weird storyline. It just has gotten really weird when it comes to Malachi Black and
I'm sorry, Malachi Black. I'm calling him Aleister Black.
I know, it's all right. But with Malachi Black, since losing to Cody, Cody is officially become the Triple H of AEW. If you lose to him, good luck getting back on that horse because it'll be a long time before you come back again.
But on a positive, we get the debut of Brody King, and he lays waste to the Varsity Blondes. Penta, Alex took a kick from Malachi Black. Does Julia Hart join the House of Black?
I think
she
so.
looks badass with that eye patch.
I think so. I honestly think so, and I think that would be great for her. I think that would just be. I think that would also elevate the Varsity Blondes. I think that may be a turning point. We've seen that Pillman Jr. can be in a feud, and fans can get behind him. That feud with MJF was low-key one of the best little feuds of 2021. I think, Griff Garrison is sort of bringing him down now that ROH is gone. I think this ends with a Varsity Blonde split, and hopefully Pillman Jr. gets the push.
Yeah, but I would love Julia Hart to be House of Black.
Agreed.
The eye patch is a great look for her.
Agreed. So next up, we referenced this earlier, but the Acclaimed versus Bear Country. The Acclaimed get the win, but it was all about the rap prior that really got this to be Sting versus Darby, and we'll see that match next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hicks Villain says Black and King are going to be the tag champs soon. I see it happening.
Let's hope. Hopefully they can build up more of their characters, more of their storylines as well. Because I'm tired of just, all right, these guys deserve to get the belts, so they put on a good match and they get the belts. It didn't work for Penta and Ray. Will it happen for, the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy in Jurassic Express? I don't know, but
I saw in an interview Malachi Black said he wants Butcher and Blade in the House of Black.
That would be good. They fit the theme best. So
he also said he wouldn't mind having Abaddon in the House of Black. He might be pushing it there.
I don't think any of us want to see Abaddon.
Hey, before we get into the next match, can we talk about the AEW trading cards came out from Upper Deck? Good luck finding them. They retail at $90 a box, but they're selling for $260 a box. They're so hot right now.
Man.
Yeah. Give it a couple months. I think they're going to come down in price. I already got the CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Adam Cole cards. I keep checking eBay, man. They're going for a pretty penny. I'm going to hold on to them, though.
I think, imagine trying to sell the whole set, because that's what's going to.
Oh,
anyway.
I've been checking eBay for a complete set right now.
Anywho.
Yeah.
It's main event time. It is Daniel Garcia versus Sammy Guevara for the interim championship. Cody Rhodes will be returning next week.
I got a lot to say about this.
That's why I said, for what part do you want to tackle?
First, I want to talk about all this talk about the 4 pillars. Daniel Garcia has main evented more AEW TV shows than any of the pillars.
He somehow pops up in there.
Yeah, and how long has Cody been away? 2 weeks? Did we really need an interim champion? This is convoluted and stupid.
And I think Jericho and Kingston are doing their best. I'm more interested in the side storyline, which is basically the fight over Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
Because now you got Eddie Kingston, part of LAX from their Impact run, and now you've got Jericho and the Inner Circle for their AEW run. I think this has to be that starts elevating Santana and Ortiz to the tag team championship level as well.
Let's just get rid of this faction.
Then the Inner Circle's time has come, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's long past due. It should have ended with the Pinnacle feud.
And I think, even the Pinnacle is a faction that we thought is dead, but it pops up every now and then, which is why CM Punk is up against Shawn Spears next week. Will probably be a really good match, though.
Hicksville says, Cody, Sammy, just bring back Miro to crush them both. Yeah, they should have never took the belt off Miro.
No, that whole Fuego storyline was great, and it would have been even better if Miro crushed Sammy as well.
Imagine Miro still has the belt, and then when they're ready to add Lana to the act, that right before she debuts, he drops the belt. She debuts, and he's going for the world title against Hangman.
Right, and here's the thing: Sammy and Tay Conti are posting themselves all over Twitter, and they're fine to do what they're doing, but there are people already calling for, them to team up together. No, we're done. We're tired of that. It's over. Let's move on.
Yeah.
No one wants to see. We want to see Cole and Baker. We don't want to see Conti and Guevara, and we don't want to see Lana in the ring. We want to see her as a manager role. So this is just they shouldn't never ever taken the belt off of Miro.
Agreed. So that does it for AEW, Phil.
Yeah.
Did you even watch Rampage this week?
I tried to check it out, but
I didn't even watch.
All you need to do is watch the first match. You can tell it's clearly taped after Dynamite. You can tell that the fans are dead by the end of the show.
So let's talk about that crowd. Pretty empty in that arena, Phil. But I feel like they've been in Charlotte the last 3 or 4 weeks. They keep bringing David Crockett out to present the TNT title to the winner.
It's really weird in the fact that, and I said this to you, and I've alluded to this earlier. They have done nothing. AEW has done nothing to keep casual fans to watch the product.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because they have the talent. Everyone will be hyped when Jeff comes back, and he may come back as Brother Nero, and you may get broken Matt Hardy again, which will be fine and all. It would be probably entertaining, revive Matt Hardy again. But where do you go from that? The broken universe, got the mainstream. We talked about how we were watching it on YouTube, and we were showing our friends, like, hey, do you ever see what the Hardy Boys are up to right now? Like, it became talked about.
Dude, Chase thought the world was going to end if that volcano in Matt Hardy's backyard exploded.
Right, like so. So AEW needs to channel this, and AEW needs to get, because they can't rely. They're trying to stay consistent over 1 million viewers, and it's just not working. And
Yeah.
I think they need to go back. Hopefully, Flip Gordon. Hopefully, he comes in and hopefully can bring some life to it. He's really good on the mic, really good. But again, he's a guy who can build a story, and that's why I think Flip Gordon is a guy who's needed in AEW. You now need story guys. You don't need the best in-ring guys. That's not a knock on Flip Gordon. Flip Gordon's amazing in the ring. I'm just saying he's the full deal. He's the guy who can bring an idea and can go
Have you seen
on the air with
Flip's
it.
Instagram?
Yeah, it's so
he keeps going to old venues trying to get into them, and they're locked. He's been looking for the Bucks, trying to find them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's calling his shot or what, but
I hope so. The guy deserves it. But you need someone like a Flip Gordon who is going to bring a story every single time he's in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that'll do it. Phil, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at AnimatedPhil. You can check out my Etsy shop on the link down below.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton. Hit the notifications. You can find me and Phil this Tuesday on Breaking Rad at 9 p.m. We're going to be doing play-by-play for 2 matches over there. Then we'll be back Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, to call 2 matches here, as well as cover Raw and NXT. And tomorrow, we haven't decided on a time, but on my channel, I'm going to have Brian from Dwarfs versus Lions, which currently versus Lion. I'm sorry, I keep trying to pluralize it, which is on Indiegogo right now. Brian delivered an incredible book just like a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, that I unboxed on my channel. Aerith Saga. Everything the guy does is first class, so I'm interested to find out about his new book. But anyway, I want to thank the chat. You guys have been great the last few weeks, getting record numbers for LaPod Gods. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys Tuesday on Breaking Rad. Thanks for watching, guys.